Hi, morning, brothers and sisters. Hope all of you are well. So we're going to start the sessions today. And just before we go into the session proper, I'm going to read out some house rules for everyone. Importantly, please continue to wear your face mask with you and sanitize your hands. Members are expected to keep 1 meter away from each other. And once you have taken a seat, we ask that you not change seats or mingle around with others in line with safe distancing measures. Also, we ask that you do not share cushions or seats and leave them as they are for disinfection after the talk. So you can just leave it where it is after the talk, and keep at least 2 meters away from the speaker, who will be allowed to unmask during the talk. And services will be kept to a minimum time, and we discourage you from mingling after the service, and we request for you to leave BF's premises after the service ends, so that we may disinfect the place for the next session in the afternoon. And chanting, I will do the chanting, and so you do not have to do any loud chanting, but please feel free to just follow if you like in a soft manner. Next. So as a courtesy to one another, we also ask that you please switch off or keep your mobile phones to silent. Next. Okay, let's all go into the opening puja. So in Anjali position. Okay. Let's pay homage to the Buddha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Let us put our palms together to partake in the offerings to the Buddha. The offering of the 5 items allows us to express our gratitude to the Buddha and serves as a symbol to help us remember his teachings. Let's join wholeheartedly and read the verses together. Offering of light. Light symbolizes wisdom. May the light of Dharma dispel the darkness of ignorance. Offering of incense. Incense symbolizes the fragrance of pure moral conduct. This reminds us to cultivate good conduct. Offering of water. Water symbolizes purity, clarity, and calmness. It reminds us to practice the Buddha's teachings, to cleanse one's mind, which is full of desires, ill will, and delusion, to attain the state of purity. Offering of fruits. Fruits symbolize the ultimate fruit of enlightenment, which is our goal. They also remind us that all actions will have their effects. Offering of flowers. Flowers symbolize impermanence. The freshness, fragrance, and beauty of flowers are impermanent. This reminds us that we should all live in the present. Remembering thus, we should reduce our craving and attachment. Salutation to the Triple Gem. Let us pay respects to the Triple Gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantam Abhivademi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Going for refuge, we chant the verses for taking the 3 refuges. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, Tatyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Tatyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Tatyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami. The 5 precepts. We chant these 5 verses to observe the 5 precepts. Panatipata Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami, Adinyadana Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami, Kamesu Miccachara Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami, Musawada Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami, Surameraya Majapamadatana Veramani Sikapadang Samadhiyami. Recollection of the Buddha. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Buddha. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vijjacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manusanang Buddho Bhagavati. Recollection of the Dharma. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Dharma. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opanaiko Pachatang Veditabo Vinuhiti. Recollection of the Sangha. Let us recollect the sublime qualities of the Sangha. Supatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Ujupatipano Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Nyaya Patipanno Bhagavato Sawaka Sangho Samiji Patipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Yadidam Chattari Purisa Puyugani Atta Purisa Puggala Esa Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anuttaram Punya Ketang Lokasati. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Okay, please make yourself comfortable. And I'll go through some announcements. Coming up next Sunday, we will have Dr. Ho Yu Chin to talk about gratitude and generosity. So the timing is at 10:30. Please feel free to join us next Sunday. But if you're coming here, please do register through Eventbrite first to come. Else you can join through Zoom. Next. Yep. So this is the lineup that we have for next month. Every Sunday we will have a Sunday service, except for 16th of May when Buddhist Fellowship will have its annual general meeting. So on that Sunday there will be no Sunday service. Just take note. Otherwise, it will be every Sunday. Next. So for BF Youths, every Saturdays in the afternoon, there will be a sessions, and the next one coming up on 1st of May is about mindfulness. And at the same time, there will be an Indonesian session as well on the 23rd and 30th of May, and towards the end of the month. Next. So later this afternoon, after the session, there is at 2 o'clock, starting at 2 o'clock, there will be a talk, Dharma discussion in Bahasa Indonesian, and the topic is about sharing experience in overcoming stress, led by Brother Harry Sugianto. So if you are interested, do join in later at 2 o'clock, if you understand Bahasa as well. Next. So for BF Junior Youths, on the beginning of May as well as end of the May, there will be sessions happening, and it's open for registration. If you would like more information, do contact Brother Si Yuan. The details are here, and as we flash through, you don't have to worry. If you want more information, these are available at the poster outside. Okay, next. We have one also for BF Junior. That's Vesak Special. That's coming up on 23rd of May. Okay, next. This one, important to take note. So BF is having an AGM. It's happening on Sunday, 16th of May, 10:30. There will be no Sunday service that day. So for those, this AGM is only for BF members. So if you would like to attend, please make sure that you renew your membership and also register your attendance through Eventbrite by next Sunday, 2nd of May. Even though the AGM is on 16th of May, registration closes on 2nd of May. Next. So lined up for end of the month, we have our Vesak Day. On the eve of Vesak, 25th of May, which is a Tuesday, we will have evening session, Dharma talk by Ajahn Brahmali, and he will touch on the Supreme Spiritual Genius, the Buddha, and also there will be a guided meditation led by Sis Sylvia Bay. So you can register to attend via Eventbrite. I understand that on-site is already full. So it's Zoom lah, for those who haven't yet registered. But please do join in. It's live actually. It's on Facebook. Yeah, you can join via Facebook. My apologies, not on Zoom. Okay, next. Yeah. So next day will be Vesak Day, 26th of May. It's going to be a full day session of activities, but please take note that morning session, the registrations to be on-site, to be present here is already full. You can still register to join via online. Afternoon session highlights will be Dharma talk by Sayalay Sujata. There is still places to register if you'd like to be present here at BF. Evening session-wise, it is all online, so it's not open it will not be held on-site. Office will be closed. Okay? Yeah. And for the morning session, we will have GOH Minister Iswaran who will be here. Okay, next. For Vesak Day, if you would like to make donations, Vesak Hamper is available. You can actually approach the office after this to purchase the requisites. Okay. Next. There will be a Vesak retreat happening after Vesak Day between 27th to 31st. So it's going to be held at Hotel Grand Central, and there are 3 options that you may choose to participate. One is to stay in throughout the whole session, and meaning that you will be provided accommodation at the hotel. And the pricing starts from 1038 for members. Non-members will be 1108, and that's based on single room. But if you are not looking to stay in, you can also join during the day only, which includes lunch and tea and no room. So for this day conference for members, it will be 468, and non-members will be 528. And lastly, the third option will be to join via virtual Zoom. So members will be 75 and non-members will be 83. So registration can be done via Eventbrite, but do take note that there is Eventbrite fees included on top of this. So the closing date to register is on 15th of May. Okay. This is a 5-day retreat. All right, next. So we come to the highlight for today, and that is our talk by Brother Tan Hun Tong, and the topic is on be kind to all except myself. So before I bring in our speaker, let me just give a prelude to Brother Hun Tong. So Professor Tan Hun Tong is a professor in accounting at a local university where he is also the staff advisor for the Students' Buddhist Society. His research interest is in the psychology of decision making. Brother Hun Tong has been named the world's top accounting researcher on more than one occasion. He enjoys the Dharma and is an inspiring speaker who regularly volunteers at various Buddhist organizations. So let us put our palms together and welcome Brother Hun Tong, who will lead us through the guided meditation before going into the session proper.
So we're going to start with a meditation, maybe 2 meditations, and this will all be lead into the topic of today's talk, right? Which is like wishing well for everyone. But what about myself, right? So let's just start now with meditation, right? So I invite you to just sit in a relaxed, comfortable position. And then just feel yourself like sinking into your seat. occupying your body. And then I invite you to just pay gentle attention to your feet. And so what is your experience with your feet? Do you feel soreness, tightness, numbness, or just relaxed, a relaxed feeling? Maybe you can't feel your feet, and that's okay. Or maybe you don't have any sensation there, and that's also okay. And the practice is just to observe with awareness, taking note of whatever is experiencing. And maybe you notice you have a reaction to your feet getting numb or not feeling your feet. Just observe that. And then now, bring attention to your calves and your thighs. And what is the experience like? Again, maybe they are relaxed, maybe not. Maybe they are tight. Maybe they are uncomfortable. Maybe you have pins and needles. Are you able to just observe them? And maybe you have a reaction. That's also okay. You just take note of that. And now your buttocks. Can you feel the weight of your buttocks on the cushion? The sense of support. Or maybe not. Or maybe you're feeling a sense of achiness. Or maybe you're not experiencing anything. That's still okay. And now your lower back. What is your experience there? Maybe they are relaxed and comfortable and at ease. And maybe when you hear me say this, you have a reaction and say, no, 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 no. And just observe that. Or maybe your lower back is achy, strained. And maybe you're bracing yourself. Holding up. And just observe that. Now your upper back. Tense, relaxed, nothing. Or maybe your mind has gone off somewhere. What is your experience right now? And now to your shoulders. Are they heavy? Or maybe one shoulder is heavier than the other. Or maybe they are relaxed. And then your arms. Are they in the right place for you, as far as you're concerned? Do you feel you need to move them? Are you comfortable where your arms are? Maybe you don't even feel your arms now. What is your current experience? Moving to your neck. Can you feel it? And then your lower jaw. Facial muscles. Are they tight? Relaxed? No sensation? Your eyes. Do you have an experience with your eyes? Are they telling you they are tired? Or not? Or relaxed? And then the top of your head. Do you feel heaviness, tightness, messiness, or clarity, or lightness, whatever. What is your present experience? Or do you have a reaction? A reaction to its heaviness, or to its clarity? And now take a breath. What is your experience of your breath? And now, spend a moment with your heart. How does your heart feel? Do you spend time with it? And then just listen to me and get this message into yourself. And you can repeat to yourself too. May I be well. May I be well and happy. May I be free from suffering. And how do these words land on you? May I be well and happy. May I be free from suffering. And now, think of a loved one or loved ones, people you care a lot about, people you love. And if you can, have an image of them in front of you. May my loved ones be well and happy. And when you say this, observe your heart and its reaction and its experience. May my loved ones be free from suffering. And I'll repeat again, okay? And you just observe your experience. May my loved ones be well and happy. May they be free from suffering. And then now imagine yourself surrounded as you are right now with fellow Dharma brothers and sisters. And around you, people around the world. And then just say, may all be well and happy. And try to experience this as you say this, may all be well and happy. May all be free from suffering. And then take a breath, and then just slowly come back to your body. Again, just land into your body. So when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes. So, well, what is your experience like doing the meditation, the first one and the second one? Any comments? Anyone had a reaction to it? You know, like for the second meditation, really we started off by wishing myself to be well and happy. And then the second was your loved ones. And then the third one was for everyone, right? To be well and happy. So I'd like just to have a show of hands, like, who really had some, like, in terms of really having a feel, right, of loving kindness and compassion. Which one do you have the most feel for? Like the first one was for yourself. Can you by a show of hands? You only did three, right? One for yourself, one for your loved ones, and one for all. Who had the most feel for yourself? Can you raise your hand? No? Second, you have to raise your hand at one point because the most feel, right? One of three. The second one was for your loved ones. Then the last one was for all. So no one had any feel for yourself, huh? Which is really the topic of my discussion today, right? Before I start, I just want to have some like quick definition, okay, of what, because I think we use both loving kindness and we talk about compassion. So I just have a quick definition, so you know what we're talking about. So loving kindness is what we did, right? We said, may all be well and happy. We wish that people will be happy. It's a wish coming from your heart. Now, compassion is the wish that people be free from suffering. You see people suffering, your heart cries, and you wish for them to be free from suffering. So that's compassion. So that's what the second one was. May all be free from suffering. Right? So, you know, like, I feel like this thing about the wish for people to be well and happy is like, we don't do that anymore, okay? Which is a pity. I don't do that. You know, you do send emails, but in the past, like you will send a physical card, right, during New Year and Christmas. And you say, dear so-and-so, I haven't seen you for a while, whatever. I wish you a Merry Christmas and I wish you a Happy New Year. I think these days we just send an e-greeting, which is very meaningless these days, I feel. When I receive those, I just, okay. But I make it a point to reply. I make it a point to reply with a message, not an e-message, because you could have sent 10,000 people and not feel a thing, right? But the point is when you write it to a person you know, you feel it. I wish that you have a Happy New Year. I wish you have a Merry Christmas. And because you buy a card, you bought this card for someone, you have the intent and you have the wish. So that's what metta is. That's what this wish for compassion, the compassionate wish is. It's like writing a get well card. It's writing a be well card to everyone. So it's that feeling you have. So I don't know whether you feel that just now. That's why I say you go to your heart. So as even as I speak of it, I feel it. So it's that feeling that I wish that all of you be happy. And that's my sincere wish. I don't know if I can feel it, but that's my wish right now. All right? It's heart to heart. So that's what loving kindness is, and that's what compassion is. But what I'm talking about today is like when we do that, right? And I don't know whether it's true for you, right? I've observed that for some people, it's actually quite difficult to wish yourself to be well and happy. I'm not even talking about this practice now. In general, when you talk about, maybe I should think about myself. I should be happy. I wish myself well and happy. I wish myself. Yeah, that kind of wish for yourself. Do you have difficulty with that? Anyone? Have? Lisa has. Anyone else? Only one person. Nobody else has difficulty. Okay, I can tell you I do. I actually, as I said, I do. If you've listened to me, I've been practicing inner work. I've been like seeing clients and doing psychotherapy work. I do know that a lot of people actually have this aversion to themselves, which maybe selection of people who come to me have that. And there's nothing to be ashamed about. It's okay to own up that people do. Some people have that. They have self-hatred. They have that voice that that's actually not very kind. When I say you're not kind to yourself, I'm saying that you have this voice that's always very, very critical of yourself. It's not an external voice, it's your own voice. That's not very kind. That's what I'm saying. Some people are not very kind to themselves, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about meditation per se, but it will be reflected, right? It will be reflected when we do this practice. Then you find that, may I be well and happy. You have no feel for it. It's like falling, like it just falls dead, you know. Then when you come to think of a loved one, it's like, yeah, I can feel it. Everyone, yeah. But where are you in this whole picture? You're not inside. You're just not there. Am I talking to the wall here? Do you all sort of know what I'm talking about? Do you all know? Yeah, you do, right? So that's what I'm talking about today, right? So, and the wisdom of the Buddha is that actually in the Metta Bhavana, in the practice, we start out with, may I be well and happy. When I first started, I also had no feeling. It's like, really? Like, shouldn't I be thinking about others? Right? We would say, shouldn't I be thinking about others? How selfish am I to be thinking about others? Do you have that? Good Buddhists here? Like, shouldn't I be thinking about others? That's super selfish, super self-centered to be thinking about myself. Any views on that? Okay. So that's really what I want to talk about. I want to give you an example, right? And then you know what I'm talking about. So let's say me, if I come out to give a talk today and suddenly I forgot my watch, like my pants cracked, then it's like, I got so fluttered, you know. Really imagine that. Then I'm drinking, I spilled the drink on my pants. Sorry, I need to go out now. What would you, and then I got diarrhea. I got diarrhea, so sorry, I got to go to the toilet right now. Right? How would you react when I do that, if I were to do that? Huh? Will you be laughing at me? No? Will you be very critical of me? No? No, really? Oh, okay. What happens if it's you then? What happens if it's you sitting here and then you're supposed to give a talk, then you get so nervous, you had to run to the toilet, drink the coffee, then fell, then like drop the mic while doing the meditation. What would you be feeling about yourself? Let me ask you. Will you be very kind to yourself? No? Huh? How many of you would, if you say you wouldn't judge me, right? Right? But let's say if it's you then, actually I say I'm very touched because I feel very sad. If it's you here and if you did all this, what would you be doing to yourself? Let me ask you. Anyone? You say, oh, it's okay, small matter, oh, that's all right. Would you be doing that? No, right? You'll be very what? Tell me, come on. You have your mask on, but I still can hear you. Anyone? What will you be doing? Anxious? What else? You feel very embarrassed. Okay. Anyone else? Any voice in your head? Can you tell me what your voice is telling you in your head? So lousy. Okay, what else? Huh? Very critical, right? Well, that's what it's like. What a letdown. Gosh, you're so... Oh, gosh, like... You're correct. So, are you being very kind to yourself? But you see, you can be kind to me. I told you if I did that, you're like, yeah, it's okay. It's all right, you'll come to me. It's okay, don't worry, it's okay. But if it's yourself, you don't do that. Can you see what I'm talking about? It will happen all the time, right? It will happen, Like, you want to present something, then you're like, I don't know, whatever it is, right? Workplace, and whatever. You're so critical when it's like you fumble. And then when there's someone else, then maybe some of you may just feel like, oh, laugh a little bit inside, but you'll say like, yeah, it's okay. But you're kinder. I can tell you maybe 90% of you would be kinder to someone else than to yourself. Highly critical of yourself. I get back to this point, right? About loving kindness. Why are you excluded from your own loving kindness? Can you tell me? Why are we excluding ourselves from this? Huh? Oh, what's the condition? Tell me. Oh, really? Okay, to care about others. Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much. Yeah, what else? What about yourself? What's your condition for yourself? I hear the condition, because you are all good Buddhists here, to care about others. I want to hear about your conditioning about yourself. Because I think that's the big thing here. That's the elephant in the room. Yes?
Sometimes maybe people are concerned about how people look at them.
Okay. Right. People are concerned about how people look at them. Right. Then what? Then what happens? So you're concerned about how people look at me, then how people look at myself, and then what happens? So why am I so mean to myself? You reflect. So why am I so mean to myself if I care about how people look at me?
Maybe we want to feel that we need to be tough.
Yeah, we need to be tough, right? So I go back to this point, okay? There are many reasons. I already named a few. So we talk about the conditioning. And thank you so much for bringing up that word, the conditioning. One conditioning is from the religion itself, which is a good thing, right? Like, oh, so selfish, right? To be thinking of myself. Really, right? I used to think that, say, why me first? May all be well and happy. Then I'm really right at the bottom of the pecking order, right? But see, Buddha's thing is we are right there in front. So the conditioning is, yes, others first, that's right. So we are selfish if we think of myself first. Okay, so you push your down. You're very self-centered. If you so there's no. I haven't heard the magic word. No what? What's the word? No what? Big in Buddhism. No self ma. Right. No self. Right. So no self. Then you're obliterated from this whole picture. No self. Once I practice no self, I'm not in the picture anymore. Right? Which is why I said, hey, this metta bhavana, why me in the picture, right? No self. Wipe it off, man. Just wipe it off, right? So, then next one is what? What did I say just now? Someone told me, oh, yeah, you want to present yourself. So that's the other thing right now. No self, but then self shows up now. Hey, but we say no self, but wait a minute. The self just showed up again. Why? Because you say, I need to present myself well. So therefore, I'm very upset with myself when I don't present well. Wait a minute, where's no self? You just obliterated yourself off, right? But wait a minute, it's showing up. You obliterated yourself off the picture by saying that all be well and happy. So you're there, you say, I'm practicing no self. But wait a minute, it's showing up somewhere else because you are so upset when you are not showing up. It's showing up again. Your no self is showing as a self. So yes, so the ego, right? You want to present yourself well. So it's a very punishing voice. Like, wow, why like that? Cannot, so embarrassed. So your self is showing up. What else? So now when you go to ego, maybe you are more expert at it. Or maybe you're not, but you're transcend. But tell me from your past experience, where does this ego now show up? There are many, many voices now. So tell me what this voice is telling you. So the thing about, I need to look good in front of people. So like that, so embarrassing, so stupid, right? Gosh, it's like that, no? What? But it's not to someone, it's to yourself, It's that, what? What else? What kind of voice is there inside? Tell me. Just like that. No other voices. What's the voice? What else is the voice telling you? No other voice? Isn't there what else? Yes? Self-blame, yes. Self-blame, yeah. That is my fault. Yeah. Do you ever look for perfection? Have not. You don't look for perfection, right? That's why I said I don't know whether to record. We are very, very good for looking for perfections. Perfection. The perfection of this, perfection of that, perfection of that. And then perfection of myself. So you want perfection. So when you do something, you want the perfection. Then when you don't, then the voice may come out. So there's a very, very critical voice that comes out. One's perfection. Before that, I want to ask you a question, all right? Is this voice familiar? Is this voice familiar? Tell me, where have you heard this from? Huh? That's why I say don't record this. After that, I tell you. Parents, right? Sometimes we are so... Parents here, right? You got parents here? So I don't know. No, sometimes it's... Okay, I wouldn't say all parents, but the voice is a little familiar sometimes. It's your parents. Not all parents, please. Okay, so... Some parents are like that. They want the children to be well, and the only way they know is don't do this, don't do that. You must be good. You must be a good boy. You must be a good. What is this? Like the perfect drawing, right? So sometimes the voice is quite familiar. It's actually from your childhood, and you're bringing them back to your daily life. And so when I talk about this voice that tells you about perfection, that's very critical of you, it is, in all honesty, it's a well-wishing voice. Your parents wish you well. They meant well. They wish you well. However, it's manifested in a way that's like, and then it becomes your voice. Yeah. As I say, I do psychotherapy work, and I know. So I'm not talking about hypothetical things. I've seen cases like that. Many cases, it's actually there. And so this is actually part of it, right? It's part of it coming into your own spiritual practice now. So you got to clear this. That's why I'm bringing it up. You got to clear this. Why do I say you have to clear this? You tell me now. I'm bringing this up because it's an obstacle to your own practice. You're sitting here because I presume you want to have some spiritual progress. I'm telling you this is actually part of your obstacle without you knowing. I'm trying to bring some light to it. Tell me, why is this an obstacle to your practice if you have this inability to actually be kind to yourself?
Because if you can't help yourself and you're not in
Right. If you can't help yourself, you're not in a position to help anyone. If you're not kind to yourself, what is the quality of this kindness you express to others? Let me ask you, if you cannot be kind to yourself and you're kind to others, are you telling me your quality of kindness is full? It still is there. I'm not doubting there's kindness there, but your quality is lacking. I can tell you it's guaranteed it's lacking now. There's a hollowness to it because you're not part of this whole picture. You're not part of all sentient beings. In this whole sentient being picture, there's a big gap there. You've just cut yourself off. It's not a complete metta. It's not a complete compassion. There's a hollowness to it. Second, I say that some of us here, and you can own up, you can choose not to own, you actually sort of dislike yourself. You have some dislike for yourself. Anyone want to own up here, or you don't have it? No? You have some dislike for yourself? Don't have? Okay. Yeah. But some people have. They actually have this self-hatred. It manifests, it just manifests as you're very uncomfortable in your skin. You feel that you're always not good enough. Do you all have that? That you feel that you're not good enough? Sometimes. You feel that you're not good enough. When you do something, it's like, oh, well, what would people say? Not good enough. So, okay, we know we talk about qualities, right? The opposite quality of greed is aversion, but of love too is aversion. And that aversion, you have that aversion about yourself because you feel you need to change, you need to metamorphosize, you need to change. When you actually express love for others, but inside you have this quality where you have this aversion for yourself. Again, I told you the previous quality is that in this whole sphere of love for everyone, you carve out yourself out. In this whole sphere of love, that quality is grounded in some aversion or hatred. Know again that quality of metta that you practice is not there. It's not there yet. You'll come. I just want to shine lights on this quality. That is, if you leave yourself out, again there's a gap. Do you follow what I'm saying? Yeah. Any questions at this point? Don't get yourself down, okay? Again, if you have that, you know what I'm saying. If right now I'm saying that you're feeling, oh, I'm really bad. Okay, if you feel that right now, you have it. A bit of it. It's okay. Just be aware and then let the light actually shine in, and then you will be more aware. So sometimes part of this work is that you really can't work on things you're not really aware of. And so when you become aware, you become more aware. And then over time, you will actually move back to balance. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So this is a very good test. If after saying all this, you feel like, oh, I'm really bad. Oh, gosh. Okay, then you have it. You don't have to tell me. So right. Okay. Any comments at this point? So the third thing I want to tell you, why we want to talk about practicing this love and compassion for yourself, is a story, right? It's a parable from the Buddha. And I'll tell you another one, which is everyday wisdom. Okay, so first the parable from the Buddha. So one time there's an elderly grandfather. They actually is a family troupe. It's acrobats. You know acrobats? 杂技团 and the acrobats, right? So there's a grandfather, there's a father, and then the grandchildren and all that. So the grandfather was trying to pass the wisdom down to his grandchildren. Then say, hey, we are a family team, we are family, ma. And so then they say okay, so then they say, Grandpa, you must tell us, when we are up, like trapeze, when we're up there, okay, what is the most important thing? The grandfather asked them, what is the most important thing? Then the children then say, or grandchildren rather, will say, what do you think is the most important thing? Trapeze, they're like, you have to catch that other person, right? So the grandchildren say, we must watch out for the other person and catch that person, right? Yeah. The grandfather, you know what his reply was? Do you know his reply was, no. You better take care of yourself first. If you're not stable, how are you going to catch the other person? You take care of yourself first before you think of the other person. You just make sure you're steady. You steady, ready, go. Then you catch the other person. You don't keep thinking of that person, then you're lost, you know. In Cantonese, 自己搞唔掂. You want to try to catch someone else. You know what I'm saying? Have you heard of this before? This is a very this is part of the story in the Buddhist tradition. Second one is the wisdom from something which is now like a dinosaur. When you take flights. How many of you have taken a flight recently? No, right? Yeah, I haven't taken all that. Oh my gosh, no. But you know which I don't listen, I can confess to you, I have stopped listening because they repeat so often. But this is wisdom every day that we stop listening to. I stopped listening to. Which you say, in the case, the lady, you say, in the case of an emergency, okay, I think they'll say the oxygen will fall and then like, so what's the procedure? Can you tell me? Because I stopped listening. Maybe you can tell me what happened. When the oxygen stuff comes, the mask comes down, what do you do? Tell me, and then the life jacket. Can you tell me what's the instruction? Anyone who have been listening? Huh? If you have children and all that, and the mask collar, what do you do first? For your children first, right? No? Really? No, huh? For who? For yourself first, right? For yourself first, then for anyone else, right? Oh. So that's wisdom, right? Wisdom from taking flight. Unfortunately, we don't have this reminder for a long time. So same thing here, right? You actually need to have that fullness within yourself. Have that fullness within yourself. I sometimes wonder, again, this is like my own view, not from the Buddha, and again, it's from my own experience doing psychotherapy work. And looking at myself, looking at clients. Actually, when you talk about no ego, actually, what I'm saying is that, and what I've observed is that, it's okay. Actually, if you're so bruised and tattered that you have such low self-esteem, you say, yeah, no self. I'm so tired of saying no self. Now, that is actually coming from a very bruised sense, right? A very bruised sense of your beingness. And then you head towards non-self. It's very bruised. You're battered. And then you try to go into the non-self. Firstly, the motivation, of course, all roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to liberation. But when you're coming from somewhere where you're not very healed, you're not very healed emotionally, I can assure you, you will experience obstacles along the way. I'm not saying that you cannot reach your enlightenment, your liberation, but I'm saying that actually this is a part, there's also a doorway. Healing your own bruised beingness is actually part of the doorway to healing yourself and getting to liberation. Yeah. So this is aside, not what the Buddha say, okay? But something which is my own reflection, okay? So I own that. So. Right. So, any other comments? Okay, 15 minutes. So, let me give you a little bit of the neurobiology of this. Why it is so hard to be compassionate to yourself when you're threatened. Okay, I say you're threatened, like, why am I threatened? If like here suddenly like water spill the coffee on my pants and then I need to run to the toilet, it's a threat. It's a threat to what? It's a threat to my ego, lor. So I'm giving you the neurobiology so that you actually are more compassionate to yourself when this happens. So again, I do all this for a reason. For example, clarity brings kindness. If you don't understand, you batter yourself up. When you understand it, then hopefully you have more compassion to others, but importantly to yourself. So why do I say that there's threat? It's very hard to be compassionate to yourself. For example, so the neurobiology of this is that we have this limbic system. Limbic system is your emotional system. It includes like, it monitors your emotions and threats. And so when there's a threat, there's a limbic system, there's also the prefrontal cortex, which is this part of the brain which contains your channels of compassion and stuff like that. This one is, in general, in this environment, it's fully operating. No? Yeah, no threats. This is very peaceful here. Very, very peaceful. You can be compassionate. Until the coffee spills on your pants. Then there's a threat. Then now this thing takes over. My gosh, it's like the sky like just fell, from the sky. The sky just fell, right? And then this takes over. This one just goes to sleep already. Because why? In a threat, like say last time when there's a tiger, and then you're in the toilet with your pants down, then suddenly you show up, there's a snake or the tiger that shows at the door. You don't remember, you say, oh, it's proper etiquette to pull up my pants and then run out. No, forget all this, okay? All etiquette. Then just run out of the toilet, right? So what took over? Your amygdala, your reptilian brain. Just run out as fast as you can, right? This one just bypasses. Because you quickly run out, if not you'll die. Don't need to think about politeness and all that. All right? So now, likewise, like pants, like that, coffee on my pants and like, or if my pants split apart, it's like, oh gosh, then it's like, what do I do? So this one goes away. This one comes into effect. It's just like you will react, you will react. And so it's just very hard to be compassionate and it's hard to be rational. And not only that, the system is designed for you to get better, to survive. So it's like it will actually want you to be good. So that's part of this idea. So going back to this thing about the voice, I repeat again, that voice inside is actually has very good origins. The origin was that it wanted you to be better and better and better. But the point is, anything good when pushed to an extreme becomes bad. This is an example. Just wants you to be good, better, better, better. But there's no resting. There's no resting for you to catch your breath and just be happy where you are. It always needs to be better and better. And it becomes this critical, we call it inner critic voice. It doesn't stop. I can tell you how it devolves. It really devolves downwards, spirals downwards. They say, okay, coffee on my pants. It's like, oh my God, so embarrassing. Right? Then people say, okay, it's okay, you can just wash out. Then I come back. Then at the back of mine, I say, oh, what a letdown, right? What a letdown. Okay, then after that, and it doesn't stop there. Next time I come again, I'll remember that. So I shouldn't do this. And then when I go back, the voice still keeps going. I should continue. I should be better. And it sort of eats into you. Next time if I come again, I'm going to have a phobia of taking water. Because why? I don't want to actually spill again. I've learned not to drink water. And now I can start developing phobias, So the whole idea is to actually just calm down, right? Calm down yourself and just say, okay, just an accident. So sometimes you need to talk to yourself because some of these things you don't process. It becomes like something that's learned inside your limbic system. You just learn part of your survival learning repertoire. You start developing a lot of phobias because you don't want to repeat mistakes. It's very, very unhealthy. Let me tell you this. So in the remaining time, I just want to actually talk a little bit about, so what does it mean to have self-compassion and self-kindness? Because I already told you how we are sometimes not self-compassionate and self-kind, and not kind to ourselves. So let me just, in the remaining time, talk about how we can do that. So, but maybe we can do it together, all right? So I want you to actually just think of an incident, okay? Just think of an incident where you behave bad. You're not your peak performance or something you don't like about yourself, all right? If you can just think about that, okay? Something that you're like, oh, wish it never happened, So don't make too big, because I may not be able to tame you down after that. So something small, like, oh, but it's like, okay, wish you had been turned out better, like, Small thing, okay? Okay. So now what I'm doing is that actually, I want you to actually take note of like, how are you feeling right now as you think about that incident? Right? So you probably have some judgment. Notice the judgment. Because I purposely asked you to invoke that. So there's judgment there now. So there's a judgmental voice there. So notice that. So this is the first step. Oh, you notice that, oh gosh. So you're actually inflicting, this memory actually is inflicting some uncomfortable feeling within yourself. And tell yourself, oh, I am suffering. You have to take note. This is suffering. This is the first noble truth. This is suffering. I am suffering. Second step is just notice that, oh, I am human. And this is important. You remember, I am human. I'm human with all its frailties and imperfections. I am human like all other human beings, who are also very imperfect. Third step, as you do this, I want you to soften yourself. How do you soften? You can just soften your heart. Make it into tofu, okay? Make it into like a sponge, like, my heart becomes like tofu. Soften it, just soften it, yeah. Don't make it so like cast iron, so soften it. Soft eyes, your eyes. You can make it tofu also, right? Tofu eyes, okay? Just like, soft eyes. And then soften your heart as you think about this incident. I'm just very human. Soften your heart. Soften your belly. Don't brace yourself. So a lot of you are bracing yourself, you think about it. So just soften your belly. Dan tian, just soften your belly. Yeah. So I'm suffering. If I'm so judgmental about myself and unforgiving of myself, I'm adding suffering to suffering. You just bring clarity to this. I'm bringing suffering upon suffering. Soft eyes, remember, still just soft eyes. Soft heart. Soft belly. Yeah. And then just accept it, right? So just accept yourself like, So this acceptance, when you're soft, you can just embrace yourself. It's like, okay, yeah. So I sort of like, trip this time around. Trip, right? Stumble, yeah. And it's okay. Tell yourself it's okay, I will learn from it. Yeah, it's okay. And breathe, okay? Don't hold your breath, just breathe. It's okay, it's okay. I'm human. I'm human like all other humans. And some of you may actually feel yourself feel a bit more expansive, not costly, expensive. Expand a little bit, like you're more embracing, yeah. Take a breath. Again, part of the key thing is to engage your body, right? So if all this is soft eyes, tofu eyes, tofu heart, yeah, just tofu belly. Yeah, okay, right. Okay, so that's one practice. But there are key points. I don't know, how do you feel about that? Does it make it feel a little better? I don't know. Of course, when you bring it up, it's painful, but this is the softness I'm talking about. You know, when you look at something, you don't have to be so critical. And when the critical voice comes out, so the whole point is this, when you do this, the critical voice comes out, and say, how come the critical voice come out? You criticize that critical voice. You shouldn't come out. Oh, then you see the acceleration. You're looping already. So just, if it comes out, it's okay. Okay, welcome. Welcome. All right. Yeah, I know you want me to do well. It's okay. Calm down. Just calm down, okay? So soft eyes, soft words, soft everything. Second point is, remember, so that's the equation. That's the missing part of the equation about loving kindness meditation. Because we say, may all be well and happy. So remember, I'm human like all other humans. I'm only human. So you put yourself back into the equation of being part of all humans. You put yourself back. Don't exclude yourself. You're back there. You're part of all humanity. Yeah, put yourself back into the equation. It's too early to talk about being no self. You put yourself there first, then you think about that other parts later. Yeah? Okay. Any questions about the practice just now? So that's one way to practice, okay? Yeah. So anytime you judge yourself and you feel that, it's like, when you hear that voice, oh, okay, here you are again. Okay, I know you mean well. Like, then you see, because remember when this comes out, I told you it's actually could be the limbic system, and it's like it comes out, it's strong. It's sometimes hard to actually talk to it. That's why I say one way is to actually use the body. You soften. You don't think. You're not thinking anything. You just say, okay, I just soften everything. Because it's just hard to engage in there. You start, as I tell you, they'll accelerate. You say, you shouldn't be like this. You shouldn't be come here. Then it's like, then you're judging again, see? So you just soften everything. Soften your eyes, belly, body. Ah, okay, you're here, welcome. Right? And soften everything. So soften that, okay? Now, so I just want to talk a little bit more in the remaining time about the benefits. The benefits. So there is, surprisingly, in case you didn't know, there's a lot of, like meditation is a big thing right now in academia. So there's a lot of research being done on self-compassion and kindness and all that. So let me just tell you one study which I thought was very interesting, and hopefully that gives you more confidence in what I say, okay? A lot of things you can have confidence to practice when you experience it. If not, then maybe you know that others have done it and it works. So here's an experiment with real people. So they actually asked people like what I did just now to think about something which is regretful, which they don't feel good about. Everyone, then they split into two groups. Okay, I like this. So in one group, I'll say okay, so when you think about that incident, okay, if you wanted to boost your esteem, think about ways you can do to boost your esteem, what you can do better, boost your esteem, self-esteem. In another group, will be instructions similar to what I said. It's like, you're just only human. Be soft about it. There's next time, but just be soft about it. Hey, look, don't be so harsh. Just be. So they had two groups. And they just go through, think of the incident, different instructions. Then after that, they sort of debrief them. They sort of ask, so how are you feeling? And what do you think your learning points are? And so on. So lo and behold, this group that is thinking about the esteem and all that actually feels very beaten up. Okay, this group actually feels a bit better. Not only that, that's not the key point. The key point is actually this group actually would feel more energized to go into the future to meet similar incidents. If there's something happens again, they feel okay, I feel I can do it. And this group actually feels a little more apprehensive. Why? Of course they will be, right? If you always boost your ego and want to improve your self-esteem, you get very super anxious next time you encounter it. But this group will be more ready to do it, right? Because Self-compassion. But can you see the self-compassion? So I just want to go back to my earlier point. A lot of times people will say, I don't want to put myself up there because it's very egoistic, it's self-centered, blah, blah, blah. Can you see what I've just shown you? When you're self-compassionate, you're actually helping to be less egoistic. Here, if in a strange way, right? Here, that part about not wanting to be egoistic, you're leaving yourself out. In a sense, in a very perverse way, unfortunately, you actually could actually strengthen your ego. It happens in a rather egoistic way, perverse way. The final point that I want to talk about is, for those who still want a very Buddhist perspective of this, and I will give it to you here. Look, if you are so how shall I put it? So fixated, right, on me versus others. So me should be out. Kudos to you, okay? But just observe that at this point you're still very, very attached, to who it is that you're compassionate to. I want to remind you, if you're still so fixated on me should be out there, I remind you, your very action shows that you're very fixated. You're very dualistic. You're very fixated on me versus you. So why don't you give that up for the moment and surrender? You hear what I'm saying? You're very egoistic, no? You're not egoistic. You're very dualistic. You're very dualistic. You're caring about who is you and me and so on. Let that go. It may help you in your own practice. Okay, any question? I think, 12, I was supposed to end by 12:15, but leave 10 minutes or so for Q&A. Any questions?
Thanks, Brother Vincent.
I'm asking because no one else is asking. Professor Tan, thank you for the talk, the importance of caring for yourself first. Seen from this point, I would like your comment about how then do we see the Bodhisattva approach where they, the Bodhisattva concept where others come first and I come later. How are we supposed to interpret? It does sound a bit insuspect when the others must come first.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for the question. There are three, I may get it wrong, there are three metaphors, right, for the Bodhisattva. You correct me, because I'm just... So one is actually the boatsman, right? Oh, I'm driving a raft, so please come along. Yeah. So there, you come, I come, right? Basically, we are just on the same boat. There's no me first, you first. I'm just riding, you come along. That one, we are equal, right? Now, the second one is the shepherd. Shepherd is the sheep. There's the sheep, and then there's also the shepherd. So I make sure that the sheep goes at the evening. I just gather all my sheep and get them back, to their home safely. Yeah. In that place, in that respect too, the shepherd has the sheep in front. But remember, the shepherd is actually more intelligent, in a sense, and more able than the sheep. Really. Of course, the sheep goes in first. It's true. The third metaphor is actually the king and the subjects. So the king has a lot of wealth and wisdom. He will take care of his subjects. I don't know whether I remember the metaphors wrongly. So, but I think this is part of what it is. Now, back to it. So yet another perspective, your question is, so right, Bodhisattvas will, like, Tisawang Pusa, right? The Kashitigarbha. I'm not going to get enlightened until hell is empty of its inhabitants. Wow, you think about it, when is that going to happen, right? He's delaying his enlightenment, right? He's delaying his entitlement. Yeah, but these are not like, again, this is not an ordinary bodhisattva. He's gone beyond self. So bodhisattvas who come back actually, in a sense, of course, the more, how shall I put it? elevated, enlightened bodhisattvas, they have transcended this notion of self. So when they come here, it's not physical suffering, it's just part of play. I'm back to a movie, I'm acting as this, I can be a prostitute or a road sweeper. I'm here to act out this role to help you see the road to liberation. It doesn't, I'm just role playing. I don't really feel the suffering. I don't engage. And that's why I can come back at will. For me, it's not samsara per se, because it's not like, how should I put it? It's conscious rebirth, it's not unconscious rebirth. So that's the difference. So I don't know whether that answers the question. For that, yes. So for the unenlightened people, when they come back and they want to be born, it is suffering, because for them, it is still, for them, everything is very real, and they do suffer. And so it's still part of the practice. But yes, for those who have not seen through the non-self and duality, and who still sees things as very real, yes, they will suffer, because everything is very real. Yeah. So I don't know whether that answers your question, but that's my take on it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Morning, Brother Han Tong.
Hey, morning.
So, like as we practice this self-compassion, will we be over-compassion to ourselves at the end?
Yeah. Okay, so thank you so much for this question. As I said, too much of a good thing is actually a bad thing, right? So when I talk about the self-compassion, it's actually an antidote to people who actually carve themselves out of this, all other sentient beings except myself, they carved it out. So this is an antidote to it. So this one, if it's self-compassionate, your self-compassionate compassion held to the extreme becomes self-indulgence. Then it's of self-pity. Oh, I'm the poor thing. Okay, so thank you so much for the question, because it allows me to actually clarify something, right? So self-compassion is not self-pity because of one important element, which is, I said, I'm a human like all other humans. I suffer like all people who are suffering. So when that happens, you know that I'm not the one who's really the poor thing. Everyone else is in the same boat. Because as a human, you are born in the samsaric realm. So there's no space for self-pity because you're part of it. There's a difference. Self-indulgence is like, oh, like everything is about me. So then you've swayed already, from all to me. Yeah, so it's all balanced, but that's really the point which I forgot to mention. Everything is a balance. What I said today is a balance to people who can't, and I think a lot of people have difficulty with self-compassion and self-kindness. Yeah.
Further to the question just now the sister mentioned, I think it's a trap if we're too compassionate to ourselves. Right. So, of course, the other extreme will make yourself bad as well. Yes. So now the question is there any kind of guideline standard whereby, we can guide us so that we will not fall into too extreme?
I go back to what the Buddha said about the string instrument. Not too tight, not too loose. Walk the middle path. First guideline. Second guideline is back to the steps I talked about for the self-compassionate practice, which is actually very useful. Let me recapitulate, and thank you for the question. First, as I said, go back to your body and be aware, right? When you think about the incident, for example, go back and be aware of what you're experiencing right now. Do you hear a judgmental voice? Do you hear a critical voice? Now, here, this instruction is about the criticalness, right? But it could easily be, when you go back to this, do you hear like, oh, I'm the precious one. I'm the most precious one. I'm more precious compared to others. If you sense that, you probably won't come up so strongly. So you will know that you have strayed away. The whole point is this. First one is awareness. So that's what I meant to say. Whatever it is, you become aware of your own body, your own experience. You go back and feel, okay, what am I experiencing right now? Where am I right now? So that's your compass. Have you moved away? If you move to the part where you hear the voice, it's really very judgmental. You know if you're that part, you need self-compassion. If you're there like, hey, I don't care about others, you sense it, right? It won't come out that strongly. Then you know that you have to swing back. So awareness, and then the not too tight, not too loose. Yeah. And then, with respect to this part about compassion, because we are talking about compassion, it's a very good reminder that the Metta Bhavana, including, when I talk about Metta Bhavana, I'm including compassion. Because there's a part that says, may all be free from suffering. It's very helpful to go back to the First Noble Truth. See, it's so wonderful, right? First Noble Truth. There is suffering. So when you practice metta and you practice compassion, you have to remember the First Noble Truth. There is suffering. You and I are all in this together. We are humans. We are suffering. There is suffering. You definitely will be suffering in this samsaric realm. There's no out of it. You're no exception. And then when you feel that way, you actually, like, your heart just softens, and it's like, oh yeah, that's right. May all be well and happy. Because this is not an easy journey. May all be free from suffering. We know that it's not going to be possible. We want everyone to lessen the suffering. We also want the second thing, which I said just now. We don't want to pile suffering upon suffering. There's already enough suffering. You don't want to add on your mental thinking and add on to that suffering. Because don't be your own tormentor. You are your own tormentor when you you're tormenting yourself. You know? Yeah. And then when, of course, you're on the other extreme, then, of course, you got to practice more metta. So, I'll spend the remaining time talking about 4 kinds of people. You know the Metta Bhavana, right? And the practice of compassion. So, let me just discuss. I was actually discussing one category, so it's a good time to actually calibrate in case to see where you are in this grid. It's a 2x2. There's others in one side and then self on the others. Okay, so there are people who can be kind to others and be kind to yourself. Great. Don't need to listen to all this. Out of the room. Okay, too bad it's already the end of the session. I should have asked you at the beginning. Are you in the category kind to yourself, kind to others? Great, no problem. Okay. Second one is I'm kind to myself and I'm unkind to others. Oh, then stay here because you are that part where you are like a bit more egoistic and you don't care about others. You calibrate that part, stay on. Okay, thank you for staying. Okay, all right. So the next one is I've sort of forgot. Next one is unkind to myself, kind to others. That was the main focus today. Unkind to myself, kind to others. That's the main focus. The last part, unkind to myself, unkind to others. Okay, this one, no judgment. Got to work very hard, right? Really, because this is someone who's very tormented. This is someone very, very tormented. How should I put it? Tormented internally. And it's not easy living with these kind of voices. And what has happened is that it has also affected this person's outlook. And he's projecting to everyone else outside and just like bring his external world onto others. It's a very dark world. This one is very dark world. Unkind to myself, unkind to others. Yeah, so it's got to work hard. Bring them to Buddhist Fellowship. Yeah, really, yeah. Okay, so today I'm just talking to this third category. So there's a grid there. Okay, 2x2. All right. Okay, about 12:15, right? It's about time? Oh, no. Any other questions?
Yeah. One last question? Okay.
This is talking about self-practice.
Yes.
What about if you have friends who are, maybe not aware, very self-critical, always think highly, very high ego, and always, feeling that people are not doing as good, and always make a comment that can be very hurting. So how to help this kind of people?
Do you say the person is self-critical also?
Very self-centered, I would say. Yeah. Thank you.
People are very self-centered and highly critical of others. Okay, if you deepen into them, actually when you go inside their inner world, chances are there's also a very high standard for the person himself or herself. It's not easy life. Externally, this could be that fourth box I'm talking about, maybe not to the extreme. If you're very, very critical of others, I want to say guarantee, I haven't seen enough people. Chances are there's this also voice inside that asks for the perfection within himself. He cannot be there. So either there are two possibilities. It's a very, very critical voice inside that will be talking to himself. I use himself, it's easier. So So could be very critical. It's not easy life for himself. Second, the other alternative is that it's a very hollow self inside. So outwardly critical, inside is hollow. It's pulling a bluff. It's pulling a bluff. That means like not much substance, and then still critical of others. And this is like those actors. This is like, the puffing up. It could be, I don't know. Yeah. So not easy. I mean, for the person like that, I would say the internal world is not very, there's probably some struggle. Yeah. So the question is how to help them, is it? Do you ask me? Oh, so they must want to help themselves. I tell you, because all this, when they're very self-critical, there's a lot of porcupine, they have a lot of tentacles, like they have a lot of protection, spikes, tentacle spikes, the porcupine spikes there. It's not easy to reach them. Yeah, I think they would actually need, I'm not cursing, they sometimes may need to experience some failure. They need to experience some failure for them to come down to earth and then reach for some help. Either like counseling, psychotherapy, or religion. Yeah. Otherwise, when the ego is like that, it's not easy to reach them. The alternative is someone whom they look up to talks to them. Something might go in. Yeah. Or else they have to experience a failure. Yeah. So I'm not wishing that for them, but they may have to experience that for them to come down to earth. Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Brother Han Tong. Let's say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let us now do dedication of merits. In Anjali, let us invite all sentient beings to participate in our quiet merits. Ettavata cha amhehi sambatam punya sampadang sabbe dewa anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Ettavata cha amhehi sambatam punya sampadang sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Ettavata cha amhehi sambatam punya sampadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. Dedication of merits. Let us dedicate the merits of participating in a wholesome Dharma activity to our departed relatives and friends. Idam me nyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idame nyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idame nyatinam hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. End of service dedication. I dedicate the merits which I have accumulated to the cultivation of my mind in order to bring happiness and benefits to all sentient beings. I dedicate the merits to my parents, children, spouse, relatives, friends, colleagues, and my adversaries, wishing them long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity. May we never part from the triple gem, and may we always walk the path towards enlightenment. Closing homage. Let us pay respects to the triple gem. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagawa Buddhang Bhagavantam Abhivademi. Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami. Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, brothers and sisters. I wish you all well on your journey back home. Thank you.